What's up, YouTube? Welcome back. How you guys doing? Simpleuntruths, back to poke some more holes in some of the BS that's flying around on the interwebs, the internet. Today we're going to talk about specifically hypertrophy and mind-muscle connection, building muscle, building some mass, getting them gains, doing it properly, having it stick. You know what I mean? That's what we're going to talk about today. And we're just going to get right into it. I've been doing my research. You know, I always start out my videos talking about how I do my research. I suggest you do the same. I commend you. You've clicked on this video, so obviously you are, continuing with your educational process, if you will. And so am I. I am a student of life. So that being said, let's just get right into this subject and hypertrophy and mind-muscle connection. And in doing my research, there's something that I noticed that, people talk about, they're talking about volume, specifically when we're talking about hypertrophy. They're talking about volume and sets and reps, and all that's well and good. And I'm not going to tell you that that is not what is needed, but I feel that there's a major factor being left out. And I've checked YouTube, I've checked, like I said, I've been out there on the internet, been on the interwebs, high and low, the dark web, you name it, and everybody's talking about volume. Everybody's talking about the number of reps you need to do. Lower reps will get you strength, higher reps will get you cut. And if you're in the 8 to 12 rep range, that's where you're going to get your most of your I almost tripped over that word my darn self, hypertrophy gains. That's where they're going to come. They say that it's going to happen within that 8 to 12 rep window. And to the most extent, some of that is true. And I did say some of that. Not all of that is true. For hypertrophy to work for you, we're going to fight through this. For it to work for you, you need to have a mind-muscle connection, okay? What do I mean by that? Well, you need to be concentrating on A, the muscle you're working, B, the intensity, and C, and this is important, that final contraction. The final, at the peak of your movement, at the end of your range of motion, that final contraction is very important. And in that squeeze, the isolation and the connection, okay, with your mind is where you're going to see most of your growth. Because you need to include every fiber of that muscle that you're breaking down and building. It needs to be included on that final squeeze. And for that, really, reps don't matter to the extent of failure. The closer you get to failure, and when you do get to muscular failure when you're working on a specific muscle group, is where you're going to get most of your gains, because that's where you're going to cause the most trauma. Now, we don't want that to be injury-ridden trauma. We want that to be micro-trauma. Little tears in the cells so that they can heal and repair themselves. So to get to that place, you need to exhaust the muscle. And that's where I think people kind of get these things a little bit confused. So you can do 1,000,000 reps, yes, and you can do a whole bunch of heavy weightlifting, and you will get some gains. I'm not telling you that you're doing it a wrong way. There is no right or wrong way to getting to where you want to go. It's just a journey, and until you get to your destination, that's how you got there. But I'm trying to give you some easier ways. I don't want you to concentrate so much on volume. I don't think you need to concentrate so much on reps. What you need to concentrate on is making a mind-muscle connection while you're doing the exercise. Whether you're doing concentric exercises, whether you're concentrating on the eccentric phase of the exercise, time under tension, all of that comes into play. But as far as the importance of hypertrophy, you need to really make that mind-muscle connection to see some major gains and some serious growth. Because when you're concentrating on that muscle and you're incorporating all those muscle fibers in the contraction phase and also holding on in the eccentric phase, oh my goodness, you will see gains, because you've got that muscle is literally under the microscope as far as your mind is concerned. And as long as you're thinking about growing, just engaging every muscle fiber while you're doing those exercises, whichever they may be, that's how you're going to get that maximum growth. Right, to sum up, basically hypertrophy and mind-muscle connection go hand in hand with one another. When growing muscle, when building gains, when getting that mass on. We want lean mass though. We don't want that garbage mass. And what I mean by garbage mass is this. Your diet needs to be on point. You need to be taking in the right amount of protein. Okay? Your workouts need to be intense. You need to get the proper nutrition, and you need to get the proper amount of rest. We have a video about that. I promise I will link that video on the bottom of this video in the description. But those are the things that it's going to take to consistently build muscle till you get to a point where it gets less and less, possible to build major gains, because you are going to reach that point. I don't believe in a plateau. I think a plateau is a mental thing. It's definitely not a physical thing, because the body is resilient. It will grow through anything. And for that matter, it's going to grow until you break something, until you injure yourself. And then it'll go through a healing process again. It's a very cyclical thing. Cyclical, that is. So I don't want to discourage anybody from working out. I don't want to tell you that you have to do these things to see any real growth. But what I want to do is give somebody at least a little bit of advice on the proper way of going about it, so that you're not killing yourself, you're not lifting overly heavy weights and causing possible injury, because all of that is possible when you get into this. So you want to be safe about it. You want to be smart about it. If you have any comments, questions for me, please leave your questions and comments below. I will answer each and every one of them. Make sure to hit the subscribe now button right here. Hit the bell to receive notifications when we drop another video. This is part of that 12-part vlog series that we're doing, and I've been enjoying myself. So please continue to ask questions and make comments, whether they're good or bad. Prove me wrong. I mean, I have no problem with that, because the issue with that is this, okay? There's no right or wrong way to do what it is that you're trying to do. There's a number of different ways. You just need to find out which way is going to work the best for you. Everybody's a little bit different. Even though we are all mammals, and science does apply to us every day. Physics apply to us every day in our everyday living and life. So everybody's a little bit different. Some things, some exercises and some things affect other people differently than they do others. So, I mean, that's really what we're talking about here, and I'm going to continue to bring that information to you. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you guys being here. We'll see you next time. Be cool.